So in this clip, we're going to see British journalist Goodall completely shut down and debunk these far-right conservatives' absolute lies on Piers Morgan Uncensored. As usual, let's watch the clip in full. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts towards the end.
Thank you so much for having me, Piers. It's obviously still very raw for a lot of us. I'm finding myself very caught between, on the one hand, wanting to honor his legacy of unity through debate and coming together to take down the temperature, and then wanting to honor his legacy of telling the truth. And the truth is, this is not a both sides issue. The killer killed him, according to police reports, because he found Charlie Kirk to be spreading hate. This is a view shared by every single prominent Democrat. Yes, there are people on Blue Sky advocating for violence, but what actually caused this was the utterly quotidian, utterly ubiquitous demonization of the political opposition from the left. And it has just led to violence because they said the other side were Hitler and Nazis. They said that speech is violence. To combine those two things together is to sign the death warrant of prominent conservatives. And that is what we are seeing again and again and again. And it is utterly facetious to suggest that there is any comparison between political violence on both sides. Every example they bring is not actually showing that, whether it's Governor Shapiro, whose attempted assassination was from a Free Palestine leftist, or whether it was the Minnesota assassinations, which were from somebody who said he was operating at the behest of Democrat Governor Tim Walz. There is a culture among Democrats at the highest level to suggest that their political opposition are a danger, and that suggests that their lives are forfeit. And I want to come together. I do. I love what Shank said. It brought tears to my eyes. I had to reach for a tissue while you were playing Charlie's words. But at the same time, we cannot unite with people who are lying to our faces about who we are, who will not take responsibility for the fact that they suggested that we are Nazis because of totally legitimate views that reflect the majority of Americans. So what I say is, let the left say we were wrong. It is legitimate to vote for Donald Trump. It is legitimate to be pro-life. It is legitimate to believe that there are only two genders, and we were wrong to suggest that that was not the case. We were wrong to say that that is hateful. When they say that, I am waiting with open arms to take down the temperature.
Lewis Goodall, you are on the left, and the one thing that's really struck me about this, I don't dispute for a moment that there are people on the far right that commit a lot of acts of violence and can be equally hateful. That's my personal view. But I have been truly shocked, genuinely truly shocked, by the sheer enormity of brazen, dehumanized calls on social media from people on the woke left, the sort of far left, which has been calling themselves progressive, but in my view are the opposite. But how they've reacted to Charlie Kirk's death, we've got a little mashup of some of it.
Ding dong, the witch is dead.
We think that Charlie Kirk just got shot in the neck. Hey, ooh, ah, ooh.
I would say pour one out for Kirky boy, but I don't waste good beer on little bitches.
Charlie Kirk just got put down like a fucking dog in Utah, and I could not be happier.
I will not ever feel bad when bad people get what the fuck they deserve.
Fucking stoked right now. You wanna know why I'm so fucking stoked? Fucking yeah!
CK got AK'd. And he's gone.
He did say that gun deaths were an acceptable side effect of gun rights.
We got Charlie in the neck. We got Charlie in the
neck. There are hundreds, thousands maybe, more examples like this. But we've seen teachers, we've seen hospital executives, we've seen people who want to run places like the Oxford University Union, for example, and so on, all coming out with similar gleeful celebration at the murder of a 31-year-old father of 2 young children. I find it utterly despicable, but also quite terrifying, actually, that they're so brazenly doing this. What is your reaction to that?
Well, Piers, my reaction is that I think it's reprehensible. And I think it is part of a much wider pattern of behaviour, driven by partly social media, but in particular the hyper-polarisation of American politics, which is part of a big trend of legitimising violence, of making violence an acceptable means of prosecuting your politics. Where I would disagree, possibly with you, possibly with other members of the panel, is that this is somehow just confined to the left, or the idea that this is just happening on the left. Yes, there have been examples of that. We've just seen it just now. I was disgusted at the reaction to what happened with Luigi Manzioni earlier in the year. Very similar sort of phenomenon.
Yeah.
But let's see where it's happened in other parts of the right. Do you remember what happened with Paul Pelosi, for example? Nancy Pelosi's husband, almost killed to death. What was the reaction of not just some random left-wing accounts, not some teacher, not whatever, but Don Jr., Donald Trump Jr.? He decided to put out a picture of a hammer and some underpants and say, I've got my Paul Pelosi Halloween costume tonight. This is the wider legitimisation of violence that we're seeing. And let's just have a look. I mean, let's talk about some accounts that I've been looking at. You've been horrified what you've seen on Twitter, some stuff I've seen on Blue Sky, some stuff I've seen on X over the course of the last 24 hours. Liberals can never be allowed to run this country again. How can you coexist with people that want to murder you? If you vote Democrat at this point, you're a demonic, evil person. I will support whatever saves our country. Trump has a blank check as far as I'm concerned. I could go on, I could go on, and I could go on. And I could give a list of all of the many occasions we've seen in recent years of right-wing, hard-right, far-right terrorism that we saw against what happened in Minnesota. I mentioned Paul Pelosi, Josh Shapiro. In fact, I disagree with just as a matter of fact. Investigators found in the Shapiro case online activity and writings that included extreme right-wing, anti-Semitic conspiracy theories and rhetoric against Shapiro, who is, of course, Jewish and a Democrat, and in Michigan. And even in the last 24 hours or so, what do we see from Laura Loomer on Ilhan Omar, the Democratic Congresswoman, Laura Loomer being a very senior MAGA person? At the end of the day, everyone needs to realise that Ilhan Omar is a bloodthirsty Muslim terrorist sympathiser who has no place in our country. Her presence in Congress is a national security threat, and she's an enemy from within. So please, the idea that there is some sort of asymmetry on this, the fact of the matter is, America, and indeed the UK as well, we've got into a really negative cycle here, where basically the temperature goes up and it goes up and it goes up. And then sometimes some of the people who are responsible for that turn around and go, God, I can't believe it's so hot in here. Everyone needs to pull back from the brink. Social media needs to actually be reformed and needs to be changed. Elon Musk has been pretty responsible for some of this stuff that we've seen as well. So let's not pretend. If we pretend that this is just a problem of the left or of liberalism or of wokeism or whatever you want to say, this problem is not going to be any better or get any better. Let's use this as a moment for all of us to look within ourselves and decide to be better.
Okay, we've been...
So look, I need to ask you guys a question. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Am I living in another world? Am I living in a different dimension or something like that? I am so confused as to how people on the right are really the individuals who believe that the left are the problem when it comes to violence. I'm on the outside looking into what's going on in America, and I can just say, plain and simply, right here, right now, this started when Donald Trump ran for office. The violent rhetoric has come from the top all the way down, and because of the fact that they've seen that someone like Donald Trump spews the violent rhetoric that he does, now the entire party is emboldened to say and do the things that it is that they do. Let me give you guys just a few quotes out from Donald Trump's mouth himself. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. This is the President of the United States saying that because people are protesting, and yes, some looting, he's going to shoot American citizens. The next quote, it's going to be a bloodbath for the country. And that was in regards to his re-election campaign. Another thing, if you go after me, I'm coming after you. But not just that, we're actually seeing him go after his political enemies right here, right now. Let's take it a step further. The video that it is that they played of people dancing and singing due to the fact that Charlie Kirk has been killed, I completely condemn it and I disagree. I will never rejoice in the killing of someone. But let's not act like Charlie Kirk didn't do the exact same thing to George Floyd. Let's not act like Charlie Kirk did not go on the internet and tell people that they should pay the bail of the individual that attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband and ask him questions. The lady who spoke, I don't know who she is, but the far-right conservative, when she spoke, when you saw Lewis Goodall speaking, you saw her laughing. When he mentioned what Don Jr. put on his Twitter, you saw her laughing, completely debunking everything that it is that she just said. I just feel like I'm living in a completely different world to everybody else because the left are not the problem. Yes, you heard people refer to Donald Trump as a Hitler, as a fascist. Yes, you did hear that. But the reason as to why is because he's doing authoritarian actions like a Hitler did. You're seeing it. But the revisionist history that people on the right are trying to do to make Charlie Kirk out to be some good-willed individual that just wanted to have peaceful conversation when he spoke such horrible and hateful things to different communities and different groups. It's just astounding to me. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below on this clip. While you guys are down there, hit the thumbs up button. Also, give the channel a subscribe as well. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.